Okay, so the reason for me being here today could probably be summed up by a text I got from Gareth last week about culture. So I come on site, run through something with Gareth, Stainer in this example. Really easy, simple task. We have a plan. I leave site. Somebody else says something. Nothing gets done. And that's possibly part of the problem. And that's what we want to get down to today, is be action based. And that's what we want to be the focus to be. So how do we get Forest Dean ops team, not necessarily the wider team, but the operations team within maintenance, tubbers, being action based. So start with the slides and do the agenda. So first thing is, I want everyone to walk out of here with a smile on their face, and also to have the same mindset, so that when I come back in 2 weeks' time, and I can ask anyone in this room and say, what's the culture I want us to all be? It's a real simple thing that we can all memorise, not an overcomplicated strategy. It's be action based. It's to fix 3 things. It's the cabin off lines, it's the staining, whatever it is, but it's always be action based. So the agenda, going to set the scene, talk about some success we've had at other locations over the past nearly 5 years I've been here. Then a workshop called Book About Me, which I did 18 months ago. I thought it was a really good way. We think we know each other, but we can always learn a bit more. And it's about teamwork, really, that one. And then another workshop straight after it called Lost at Sea Survival. That's all about collaboration. And then at the end of it, a commitment from everyone around the room of what it is that they want to do. So be thinking about that as we go through. So setting the scene. So for you guys to open up, you need to have me open up, I guess, to you and explain a bit about me. You already know a little bit about me, but you probably haven't all seen my partner, my 2 stepdaughters, and my son. But that's us there. If Claire's not happy, the whole house isn't happy. If I'm not happy, no one cares. That's how it works in my house. Dan's nodding. My son thinks he's a superhero. Some days he's Spider-Man. Some days he's Batman. That's the dog, which causes all sorts of issues. Even escaped here when in cabin 27 on a changeover day and disappeared. Yeah, it was back when I first got it. Yeah, it was a bit of a. There's a radio call. We've got a dog in cabin 27. As I was scurrying around, she slipped through some spindles on the hot tub deck. She put on a bit of pork sins, bless her.
Was it because there was a spindle missing?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm also a Derby fan. As some people may know. What people wrongly probably assume about me is that I went to university. I did not go to university. So people also wrongly assume, because I speak quite well, that I grew up in a privileged lifestyle. Far from it. Extremely poor. I won't go into the details today, but if you want to talk about it, I can tell you some interesting stories about the council estate and the housing association houses that I used to live on in Derby. But that's me breaking down the barriers for you. I'm not that kind of person. I'm very down to earth. And I want to be open and honest with you. So, those who maybe know me a little bit more may have heard me say some things. I'm a bit of a walking cliche. I'll use catchphrases quite a lot, but those catchphrases exist because they work. So one of the old ones that everybody's heard of is, you get out what you put in. It's true for everything, isn't it? I was poor. I didn't want to live on a council estate, so I put in a lot of effort to avoid going back there. But you can apply that to anything. If you want to bake a cake, you will get out what you put in. If you put poor ingredients in, you get a poor cake out. Skill and will. That's how we break it down. Not everybody's got the skill to start with, but if they've got the will, the skill can be learned. we've got no will, and you've got the skill, then how do we motivate those people? So I always think skill and will. You'll hear me say that a lot. Today's favour is tomorrow's obligation. Okay? So that happens quite a lot at certain locations and in other businesses as well. So a department will help out one day, and then the next thing you know, it's gone from being a favour that day to being an obligation, something that then just becomes the norm. So whenever you do a favour, you've got to make it extremely clear it is a favour, because otherwise it becomes the norm and the lines get blurred. Do one job well instead of 3 or 4 badly. Yeah. Doing a job well doesn't mean do it to perfection. Yeah. So doing it well means just taking a bit of time, but not overdoing it. We don't have time to do things to perfection when we're running at 100% occupancy. But do it well, or just don't attempt it at all. Don't try and do lots and lots of things, because you won't have the time to do them well. So it's all about quality over quantity. This one. There's 2 sides to every story, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. And you'll always find that when you've got some form of dispute, whether it's between contractors and client, or whether it's between departments or 2 people. Somewhere in the middle is the truth, and it's about being fair, so you listen to both sides. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Would you do anything different? It's all about perspective. So whenever I'm talking to someone and they haven't got something right, what's the reasons? Put myself in their shoes, and would I have made anything different? And a majority of the time, you probably wouldn't have. Probably would have done exactly the same as them. It's always good to stand back. This is the real crux of it, though. You might hear me say ruthless prioritisation. You might hear me say be action-based a lot. Yeah, you might hear me say 80-20. It's all about having an impact. It's all about actions. Ruthless prioritisation means me setting aside an hour and a half today to be here to do this session, and not do some other things and not get dragged off. You might see my email box have 50 emails in it one day and none the other day. Because if someone is emailing me, it can't be that important. If someone calls me and I don't pick up the phone, if they don't call me again in 5 minutes, I know it's not an emergency. Ruthless prioritisation. Focus on the 20% of things you can get done, not the 80% of things that you can't get done that day. Inch by inch, you'll make improvements. And that's the be action-based culture we need to have. I've only had to use this ever twice in Forest Holidays, but when somebody said to me, I can't do that, I had to say, if I put a gun to your head, could you do it? Who's going to say no? And both times it's worked, fortunately. They haven't said no. I don't know what to do if they say shoot me now. Yeah.
Didn't they ask that question when the health and safety officer came around? So if a bird would come around and steal all your money from the tree, give me much.
Ultimately, it's down to skill and will. Can they physically do it? Can they mentally do it? I wouldn't ask somebody to do something I wasn't prepared to do myself. This is one that people often hear me say. When I win the lottery, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I'm not. When I win the lottery, you will never see me again. I'll be on a golf course in Florida. Yeah. Oh, give me the sunshine and golf, that's fine. What people used to say was, if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, you're not coming into work. Yeah, that's quite a negative connotation, isn't it? Whereas winning the lottery is positive. So that's why we say winning the lottery. But that's all about business continuity. So what happens when you don't come into work as an individual? Business continues. There's still guests here. We have to have business continuity. Whether that's record keeping, whether it's purchasing, whatever it is, we have to keep going as a business, regardless of the faces. So, anybody heard of this before, which is your sphere of influence, sphere of control? Okay. What I would say to people is, be action-based and focus on your sphere of control, the things that you can do with the resources. By all means, try and influence people in the wider business. But everything else that's way out there, don't worry about. Don't stress yourself out about it, whether it's sofas or new hot tubs and those kind of things. Focus on what's in your control. Be action-based about it. A couple of examples. So, this one's from Deer Park, Legacy Cabin. There was about 12 cabins that looked like that. They had timber plinths around the showers. And the maintenance guy, Keith, says to me, what can we do about it? And I said, can you tile it? Well, yeah. It was in his skill set, and he wanted to do it. He didn't do it straight away, but he did a good job, he did it well. And now they're all massively improved, and they look like what they do on the right, which is better for the guest. Sofas, you want to turn your plum sofas over to the new style, comfy, bigger sofas that are grey, better armrests and those kind of things. Well, they're not cheap, they're a grand a pop. And that's for me to worry about. That's in my sphere of control. So where have we had success? So there's a little table on the left, and it shows us where we were. This is CSN. We've replaced CSN with SMG as of 2 weeks ago, and we're going to get a heck of a lot more data, and it'll be more specific and more targeted, which is great. But CSN is where we were in 2015-16, and as you can see, when I started, it was Cropton, Fod and Sherwood. That's where I had to focus. I focused a hell of a lot on Sherwood to start with. We've had a bad year last year, but and come down, but we got it up to nearly 80% with everything working. Cropton has just grown year on year and gone from being the worst location to the best. They're action-based, that's all they do is action-based, generic list of things, not a specific detailed list. And that is how they've managed to do it. Fod, relatively little bit of improvement here and there when we put new ones in down at the Woodlands and those kind of things, but overall we've just stayed the same. But Roger, Miranda, you'll tell me, especially Miranda when she's from housekeeping, you see that many different faces come and go. This is why it's great to be sat here today doing this with this team, because we've actually got the basis of a team to be able to do it with and make those improvements. So I look around, I don't think anybody wants to be bottom of, with everything working, or bottom of deck, or if you do, put your hand up now, and now would be the time to walk out of this room, I think. But we've all got a bit of pride, haven't we? We all want the guests to come back. We like having this in the local economy, you know, providing jobs. And the person who comes in next into this team, what do you want them to see? You want them to see that be action-based culture come in, and them to know no different, and that's how we'll change it. So fix 3 things was something that was agreed with all the ops managers. This is specifically maintenance now. In April 2019. I think it was Damien at the time, I think was there. But every location we said we need to be action based. Instead of, the old way was audit checklists, and that's how we went around the cabins, and then you've got to then go back to that cabin to do it again. So we said, well no, we need an action based thing. So we came up with fix 3 things, we all agreed it. And then the next month, May, interestingly, we got the highest ever Was Everything Working score. 82.9%, which is a huge jump from where we were. The previous best was in 2016, and it was 2.8% better than that. Roll on a few more months of doing it, getting some decent scores. November hits, which is traditionally a poor month for us because heating issues start to kick in, and we got 84.6% and absolutely smashed it out of the park by doing fixturing things. It beat the cleanliness score for the first time. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get the credit because everyone was going, how's was everything working, beat the cleanliness score? So, you know, it is what it is. But got a new target now, which is SNG. The targets will become clear over the next month, I think we said. It'll be slightly different to was everything working, but ultimately that doesn't change anything around here today on what we need to do and get that culture right. So, let's roll into the first workshop. This one is called Book About Me, and I've set aside some bits of paper. I think everyone's got a pen. There's some marker pens behind. So I did this 18 months ago with my boss, Laura, Sam Rowley, who looks after retail, and Natalie, as the central support operations team. And we'd been working together for 3 years at that point, and we thought we knew each other quite well and those kind of things. And it was just quite a fun thing to do and engage with. So what I want you to do is, if we move the pieces about a bit, take this little booklets that we've made, and I want you to come up with a title for a book. If you wrote one about you, what would your book be called? I will tell you what my book was called before we start presenting it around the table, because you'll laugh, and hopefully it'll make you feel relaxed about telling yours. I want you to put in 5 facts about you. It could be your star sign, it could be a tattoo, it could be I was born in Timbuktu. Whatever it is, 5 facts that people may not know about you. What your world looks like. Is it pink and fluffy, full of unicorns, or is it dreary, utopia, 1984, Orwellian, totalitarian state? Whatever it is, just let us know. What your proudest moment is. Your proudest moment might be becoming a father. That's outside of work. You might have a proudest moment in work. You might have got some amazing guest feedback, direct, or a manager made you feel really special, something like that. So ideally, put one thing your proudest moment outside of work. Might be winning a horse riding competition, Gareth, or something. You know, stuff we wouldn't know about you. You at your best at work is. Just 3 words. What it might be, it could be a sentence, whatever it is. When you are at your best at work, what are you? Where's your favourite place? It could be a place you go on holiday, it could be a place you do sport, it could be anything, but where is your favourite? And when you retire, I think you pretty know where I'm going, Florida, to play golf. Probably end up caddying and earning money instead to fund that lifestyle. However, when I retire, what are you going to do? Let's learn a bit about each other. Leave your last page blank, give it 5 to 10 minutes, and then just come sit back down in the chair. So, all about team bonding.
You've got pens, right?
What are you doing here?
You've got pens.
There's some on the bottom there.
What do you mean you can't wait for the morning? My brother's looking for me.
Okay.
Sit by Patricia.